The S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, that's what we're talking about here on the day. And as we prepare for this week, we do have Powell talking once again going into it as well. Now, we also had our rate cuts going from last week, so that was overall pretty good news. But what's going to be the situation moving forward, and how are we going to be looking at that? Now, I'm going to be going more into the charts, what I'm looking for, what I like. But as we are looking at this, it's important that we understand where we're at and kind of how we're moving. So again, right now, it's expected that we're still going to have 0.5 or 50 BPS of rate cuts still coming in down the line throughout the end of the year going into December. That's overall kind of good news, right? That's at least for the market. The reason for that isn't great. The problem right now is all around unemployment. It's not necessarily inflation concerns. Now, the question is if unemployment kind of stabilizes or stops, I guess, rising, or it comes down just a little bit, right? And inflation starts to peak just a bit, which we still think inflation is going to go up because of what's happening with tariffs, even though the Fed has said in their opinion, it is transitory. These are still a lot of question marks. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I would be willing to bet, though, we're still going to get those cuts, especially with the fears of unemployment right now. And the fact that they have said time and time again that they do feel like it is transitory. Now, going into this week, as far as data that's going to be released, again, you have Powell talking to Tuesday. Yes, this is going to be Tuesday. And then you have, more importantly, PCE coming out as well on Thursday. This is very big. This is important. I give GDP, on Thursday, and then I think PCE on Friday. A core PCE is coming out on Friday. So, end of the week, we get more of our data regarding inflation, state of the economy. Early week, we get Jerome Powell talking. That is what's happening there. Now, obviously, we're going to be talking a lot more about SPY, where we see us going, what we're going to be looking at, because as of right now, you are doing the definition of a bullish trend. You are making higher highs, higher lows. And again, even if we go back to, a few weeks ago, right? So people calling for a massive dump and a crash and this and that, right? You still zoom out. It's very important that we do this over and over. I recommend that you go backtrack this so you don't get fooled. You don't get in prematurely to shorts or prematurely into one side of the trade. You can still see here, you were just mounting over and over and over, just stair-stepping once again. And again, we don't like to, I don't know why people, we fall in love with one side of the trade, or what we fall in love with being right? And that's what happens. And then when we're wrong, we just blame the world. And that's just what's happened. Like you're not really making lower lows, just higher highs, higher lows nonstop. The reality is if you flip this around and it was going to the downside, you'd be bearish. It is what it is. Now, again, you can see our previous all-time highs back here. This is the previous all-time high from February. Again, we're well above that on SPY as well. Going into Qs, I think Qs are really just getting warmed up here. I mean, we had a big breakout before, but now into this week start really heating up. We were kind of ranging there for a minute, but now you're getting the breakout here. And it's worth mentioning that you're getting this type of move on NASDAQ, tech, Qs, whatever, and it's not really being led by your biggest names. I mean, Apple's doing some heavy lifting this week, don't get me wrong, but NVIDIA and AVGO, which have been two of your biggest and best movers on the stock market, are kind of range bound right now. So the question that I just encourage people to ask, right, is what do you think is going to happen when NVIDIA gets back in the party, right? We're still really relatively close to all-time highs. There's only bullish news kind of coming out. The bad news around China, the ban happening there, but NVIDIA is going to just eat up that demand no matter what. So that is where we're at. That's what we're looking at broad based in the market. We're going to go more into key levels, what you should be tracking down, what you should be watching, what you should be looking at, and moving forward as well. Now, before we go into all that, I will say right now, if you're interested in how we trade, what we trade, the Discord link is down below. You get access to our daily watch list, not only on futures, but also what goes into stocks as well. Jordan posts his watch list there as well, so you get both of those pre-market every single day. You go into our trade ideas. These are more of exact entries, what we're looking for there, where we're targeting on these stocks, where we think they're going to go, more swings, holding them a little bit longer, more time. You can go more into technicals for quick scalps intraday. Bigger opportunities are setting up. Corey is one of the big ones we're looking at right now. Netflix was a great scalp. Again, Affirm, all these other names. So again, they're all there for you. You can see the profits as well. That's where we're at all day. This is just what we do. So again, the link is down below. Also, I do want to add in, if you're looking into trading futures, prop firms, anything like that, again, I do trade on prop firms when I'm scalping specifically. And if there's range bound, I want to trade futures. I don't trade SPY, I don't trade Qs. I trade futures in QNES. Tradeify's new deal, pretty crazy. Project X, again, the straight to funded accounts. I like to skip the eval phase. If you want to do the eval phase, go to growth. I would not use the advanced. I would use growth accounts. Again, 50K counts $100 all in. There's no activation fee. That's cheaper than tops. That's cheaper than like this. This is a great deal right now. My funded future is a little bit cheaper, but again, the 50K growth account is pretty legit, and you get Project X, which I think is the best platform out there when it comes to trading futures. So check it out. Lightning funded is there as well. Now let's get back to it. Let's go into more specifically what we're looking at on the market and kind of what we want to see going into this week as far as opportunities. Right now, looking right now, just at the market, I want to start with NVIDIA and semiconductors. Okay, I know we have a lot going on here on the chart. Let's just quickly first of all, just clean this off real quick for you. But let's get rid of the indicators so you can see, or the drawings. Outside looking in, okay, this is your 50 MA. It's not a major level, but again, it's worth mentioning, okay? You're sitting on top of it. You reclaimed it. You're kind of consolidating down. This is a 4-hour, 1-day time frame. So again, it's a higher time frame. And you're structurally, you can see making these look lower highs here now, trying to break out, making a higher low now. NVIDIA to me is... It's really easy to trade the market for me when NVIDIA is running. If NVIDIA is going up and the Nasdaq's going up, it's very simple to track. If you're moving up on the Nasdaq and NVIDIA is doing an opposite reaction or it's just range bound, things get really choppy. I've talked about this pretty in detail. The same thing goes for like Apple and AVGO, right? Because those are your really big movers when it comes to the Nasdaq, right? When your heaviest holdings, right? So when we look at NVIDIA, I really do believe you are setting up for a pretty legit opportunity. Now, again, you can still see you're making those lower highs, but I just want to add in here. You can clear as day see, you start breaking out of this, you look really, really, really good. Giving you an example of something like this, again, I don't like talking too much about AMD, but I actually think AMD is a pretty decent opportunity right now. But AMD, similar kind of chart, broke out, boom, shot up. I can go on a laundry list of these names and different setups, but again, when you start breaking structures, breaking trends, you look really good. NVIDIA is probably going to be more impressive, all things considered, because again, you're breaking this into all-time highs, and price discovery is a really good friend, and it's always pretty illiquid. So again, NVIDIA definitely would be tracking this name, and I think if it gets going, it's going to really carry semis. Again, AVGO is another name out here that's kind of just been getting just pulled back. I mean, it had a monster run from earnings. Don't get me wrong, like crazy 306 into like 370, crazy, right? You're pulling back clearly. You need to get back above 356 to be bullish there as well, all for AVGO and get that continuation. Okay. Now, before I go in any other names, I just want to make sure we go over the semis. I think it's just super important because again, it's funny because you look at SMH as a whole. And SMH looks really good. The semiconductor ETF looks phenomenal. Looks really, really good. It is being more held up by, AMAT and all the other names getting love finally. AMAT, ASML, TSM all really carrying right now. That's the important thing to kind of acknowledge and look at. Now, going back towards SPY really quickly so you have your levels. You're in price discovery, so you're not going to have a crazy amount of levels. I want to make this really clear. Obviously, when we're at levels we've previously been at, retracing, bouncing back up, it's easier to find those levels because you have more history of where buyers and sellers have been or where they're kind of drawing action to, right? So for me, the only levels I'm really watching are right here. You can take a screenshot, whatever you need to do. Again, this is what I'm watching, why I'm watching it. You have the bottom level, 657 to 656.5, 659.5, 661.8 roughly. That's what you want to see. Now, obviously, getting back above your all-time high here, I don't even think I need a market, but we will do it just in case. 664.9, get back above that, you look really good, price discovery. Can I give you a target? I'm not going to, but I'm just going to say price discovery, you look really good. Now, QQQ, you go in here as well, take a screenshot. A 590, 593, 583.3, give or take, right? You can even draw a little box on here towards your little previous lows you had right there. That is what I would be tracking. That is what I'd be watching. So again, my big levels there, I don't think you have to go too in detail with those. You're just, again, it's the same levels on repeat, just kind of just tracking up right now, stair stepping. Now, moving more towards equities outside of semis. Again, I don't think semis have been like the greatest day trading opportunities. I've had names like AMD like perform well, like quick money in and out, but like I'm not holding those. So again, it's been more of the other names. One of those sectors has been CrowdStrike. Congratulations, guys, if you held this, if you traded this. Discord, we were all over this. We've been saying, not only were we trading into 456, but once we made it really clear once they signed that deal with NVIDIA, it's probably all you needed. But again, you got into 456. We said once you mounted the previous all-time high there, boom, you went crazy. So again, you got right back above it. You went straight into 502. I would be shocked if CrowdStrike doesn't work towards all-time highs. 517, 520 makes a lot of sense. Again, another name out there that was kind of leading this charge that wasn't CrowdStrike. I think they move very similar. These names. ZS is another name that was kind of with these, but it's PanW, Palo Alto. This might be one of the best setups now. It's again, and I say it all the time on the channel. Is you're going to get more setups. If you missed out on CrowdStrike, there's going to be another one. I know it's hard to believe, but before that, it was, I don't even know what the previous big trade we had, but let's say UNH. We're like, oh, I missed out on UNH. Well, we're not going to be another. Before UNH, it was, the massive NVIDIA trade, right? We had TSM. The list goes on, and Palantir. We had Palantir. Remember, Palantir was monster trades right on there previously. But over and over, and there's just more and more up. So when you get to this mentality of like, okay, I don't want to miss out. I need to trade this. I need to YOLO. I need to get aggressive. You usually don't. I would urge more defense on your portfolio than offense. I'm just telling you. When you should get offensive is when the market is in turmoil. That's when you get offensive. And then when you're getting offensive like that, I would probably go more time on your contracts just to, give you some sort of defense when you're getting super aggro. But when you're looking at this, that is how I would approach these things. Especially when you're in all-time highs. Because when you're in all-time highs, you're opening yourself up to risk. And I'm not an idiot to say, again, as bullish as I've been on the channel, okay? It's very important to acknowledge that, at some point, you're going to find a top. And then you also have Donald Trump as president, who's the most volatile guy I've ever, seen in office or political figure. So you never know what he's going to say, okay? Just like with this, in China, chip, banning NVIDIA. I would not have suspected it, right? But, I mean, not surprising at all. But, again, PanW, that is where you're at right now. PanW is price discovery, so people are like, well, Tyler, what's your target here? Price discovery, guys. 220, 217, we'll see. But PanW, monster play. Flat top, incredible look. PanW, CrowdStrike probably run together. Another big name that I mentioned to Discord, and I want to say right now, I really try not to gatekeep with Discord. And I don't try to say, okay, well, hey guys, if you want to see my top plays, you better subscribe to Discord. Discord's more for if you want to see exactly when I'm starting to get into it, when I'm like, okay, well, this is hitting my target, just alerting you throughout the day and just giving you more access to me and Jordan, right? Where we're just sitting there talking about stocks, looking at stocks, alerting all day long, right? That's more of what it's for. It's a constant kind of YouTube video, I guess you could say. That's the point of, what we're doing there. Really important to understand. But bringing us back into CoreWeave. Now, going into CoreWeave, I think it's a really interesting setup. Now, I think they also signed a deal with NVIDIA as well. I think so. I don't know. There's video is on a roll. They're just signing deals, right? And again, actually, you know what? I'm so sorry. Misspoke totally. I want to address it. And again, I do misspeak here sometimes. But CrowdStrike did not. It was CoreWeave that signed the deal. CrowdStrike had a different deal that was signed, but again, blowing up as well. CoreWeave, okay? Ascending triangle formed out here. Higher lows developed. Now, I also want to highlight stuff, and some people get mad at me when I talk about this. You are taking educated gambles. That is the ultimate definition of what trading is. I don't think I could say it any better. And people get upset by that. Oh no, you're not. If you're investing, you're not. If you're buying, holding, forgetting, you're not. You're kind of gambling, but it's not really that much, right? But if you're playing options, there's definitely a degree of gambling there. So I want to make that extremely clear. And I never try to paint this picture of if you do this, you're going to get rich. Okay? CoreWeave. The setup is just clean. If you look at what NASDAQ is doing, if NASDAQ can keep going, I don't see a world in which CoreWeave doesn't go. The other viewpoint is I don't even know if you need NASDAQ in this case because CoreWeave, when we ran last time, again, it was IPO, didn't really need NASDAQ. But what I will mention here is right over here. You have no liquidity. You have a giant gap right here, first of all. Giant gap at 144, 143. But there's no liquidity above 125. You went down you really went down a straight line all the way down, which is why you went up so fast from 100 into 120. So if you start holding 125, I mean, I don't want to say you're going to go to 140 instantly, but the setup is really clean. You'll move fast. It looks good. Again, this is where I go into saying not only do you want to be right on a stock, but if you could be right about and get some of the speed of that stock moving as well, you'll make more money just based off of volatility and IV coming in there as well. So again, CoreWeave looks really good. I'd be watching it above 125. It becomes super interesting. Cheaper name out there is a firm. And again, like I said, you guys are going to see me talking more about mid caps. But I also tend to hyperfixate on the names that I like, on the opportunities in front of me. Again, I think it helps with some of my success is focusing on what is working and not deviating too soon. So Affirm, I always want to make sure you guys see the higher time frames of what I'm looking at here. Affirm, as you can see, coming back into that basically like the SPAC or IPO, whatever it was back here, IPO low of $89, $90. You're mounting that right now. And it's been on the uptrend, right? So on the hourly, you can see you're mounting. You look really good. I'm targeting like $198 to $100, but honestly, I think it goes further. But you can see here as well that look at just the strength of Affirm. I've also said this before, is Affirm typically isn't the leader in these mid-cap names, okay? Usually it's been like Upstart, which I think Upstart is presenting itself as one of the next contenders. But this is why I said you need to really like wait until 71.5 or get above the 50 MA there just to give us some momentum. We also have a key level of 71.2, so 50 MA and a key level, recipe for disaster. Wait for us to get over, get the continuation. That's where we'll make our money, right? Be patient, know where you're going to make your money, where you can, and where the opportunity, and why is that a better opportunity to make money. So we know the resistance there. Now, if you're buying down here at the, the 200, this is the 200. Like I think that's a great buy. Like so, ignore what I just said. You moved up $10, so you could have already made good money. But if you get above this level, look at how you moved previously. You moved up from 71 into 81 quick. You came down, you bounced, you held, you moved back into $88. You came down, you rejected, you lost this level, you went down another $10, right? You got above it here, 71 moved into 77. Great move. Previously, you got above it, went straight up. Previously, you got above it, went straight up. Retested, got a little chop beneath this level, but ultimately got some breakouts to the upside. So we know illiquid area above it looks really good. Big opportunity if you can hold. Again, why I'm looking at it, why I'm watching it. Palantir, PLTR, another big name out there. I've mentioned it a lot. And again, I recommend, guys, if you don't, this is what I say. You can always take screenshots of any of my videos. I don't get mad. I would only get mad if someone took a screenshot and claimed it as their own. That'd be kind of crazy, but I don't even know if I'd really get too mad. But whatever. Looking at Palantir, same levels on repeat. I think this has been the same levels, I think, for 2 months now. It's kind of comedy. Really, it's been the same level since, we had the big run back here. And, 2 months, give or take, right? Back above 169, you came to your 50 MA, you bounced, you got back above 176, you went straight up $7, $8 more. Great move. I think now you're at that area of where you're looking for. You're looking for all-time highs now, back towards 190, 189, right there. Palantir's there now. The question, though, is when you break above. Really, I don't like going long up here at 180 to 182. I'd like to see a better pullback, right? You have a small little level here you can see as well, little dip you had there before we had all-time highs. You're holding above 80, 182, which I do like. But again, you have about $8 of upside, which is still good money on Palantir, but just know your risk, know what you're okay with risking there as well. Another big opportunity out there, Tesla. Tesla was one of the biggest shocks for me this week. I'll be totally honest. Really good move, obviously, going into Monday, but the rest of the week, we kind of just consolidated. And I want to zoom out here as well to the daily. I don't have a lot up here as far as resistance is concerned. You're back getting into all-time higher territory once again. You have a little bit here at 425, but, I think Tesla should be going. I really do. I think I'm surprised. So I think Tesla is one of those names that's just really strong, and I don't know why it's not running yet, right? You can see higher lows, and you're going to see a lot of these same patterns forming out on a few of these other names as far as the ascending triangle, flat top developing out there. Tesla looks good. It really does. Going to tell you that right above 425, 426, 438, 440 is what you're looking for, right? Looks really strong. Another one of those really great names out there. Netflix, again, same story. This has been one of those names just all about day trading. It hasn't gotten the breakout yet, but again, the lower level 1180 has been a big support. You start mounting 1200 and like it a lot. 50 MA has really been your key level watching for breakouts and big surges and big pops. We traded this one from 1230, almost went all the way into 1230, right? So 1215 and 1230. So great looking name there. I still think Netflix is really strong, all things considered. And another thing I want to highlight is Netflix's earnings continue to be impressive. And you look at streaming platforms as a whole, no one's consistently gaining subscribers at the rate Netflix is doing, but then Netflix is also changing the tiers of what they're doing as far as adding ad tiers to make more money from ads, right? Or make money from ads, right? And that tier is just continuing to grow while the other tier is staying steady. So either the numbers are lying or they're just the best streaming platform out there, which they seem like to be the best streaming platform that exists right now. So again, whether you watching, whether you like their shows or not, that no one cares about that. Again, the market doesn't care about your feelings or what you think about a stock or where you think it's going. It cares about what's actually happening and the numbers that are coming back from that company. So worth mentioning. Same thing with Nvidia. When everyone said it was a bubble, well, bubble boys, that they got popped. So again, that's where we're at now as well. Some disappointing names out there right now. ARM, big disappointment. I would assume you come back towards the 200 SMA, you're between below the 50 MA. This is weird. I don't know if you're moving down because of the Intel partnership between NVIDIA and Intel, and now people are like, well, are they not going with ARM? NVIDIA already made a public statement that they're still heavily invested in ARM. Nothing's changed. They're just broadening their market there as well. We'll see what happens, but be careful with ARM. Above the 200 SMA, I still like it as a buy, but weird movement. Intel. This has been one of the biggest question marks. I made a video on it earlier this week as well, and I'll have more dedicated videos coming out to stocks and stuff like that pretty soon to keep bringing those out. But Intel, weird, right? You had a great move here from the announcement. I mean, anytime you have, I couldn't think of two. If I was outside looking in and I was like, who would I want to invest in my company? If I had to pick, not just the people, like countries or companies, I'd probably be like, okay, if I was in semiconductors, I'd be like, okay, well, I would like America to get a deal. So the whole tariff thing, like, please, dear God, get on Trump's good graces. Those companies have done amazing. And then probably if I go to semi, I'd be like NVIDIA. And Intel did that, right? Now, it's important to realize that Intel, whether you like it or not, I don't really care. Again, you're still at levels back here from literally 2003, 1999 stock price. That's kind of terrible. Not going to lie to you. That's pretty awful. The weekly chart here as well. You're rejecting from previous lows here down here at May 2024. Also not a great look. So we'll see what happens here. If you can hold above $30, you look good. You stay below $29.7, $30, it'll look back down to $26.4, $26.5, $27. I'd be betting on the downside if you hold below. Just telling you right now. Great investment, great news coming out. The chart-wise, scary as hell. Steer clear for now. Another name out here is UNH. Again, I'm pretty all over the place as far as like things I'm looking at. Like I said, like there's a lot of opportunities out there right now. UNH. I've traded UNH 2 times now to the upside, and I'm waiting again to get back in on the upside. I would like to buy around 320, 325. UNH has been a beast. It is a monster. Okay, I want to make that abundantly clear. However, I think you want to dip. I'll tell you that right now. You're rejecting off this like 340, 341, kind of made a bear flag, broke down, retest. It just looks bad. You start getting below 334 here. That's where the opportunity for the trade comes in right there. Let me mark it out for you. Below 334, I think this is a clean drop. You have a gap fill at 322, at least into 325. Clean drop 325, 326. That's what I'd be targeting there. One of my top names out there as well. And then really finishing us up here in the video, last cheaper name I would say out there is Marvel, holding above 73.2. I like it a lot. Get above 75.7. You look really good. Keep that on your watch list. Names that have run, right? AMAT, we talked a lot about AMAT previous 2 weeks. We said, I don't know what to tell you, right? Got above 176, held 168. Monster trade this past week. Almost $30 of upside. Congratulations, right? ASML, I didn't trade ASML. Also, like I said, these are the semis that are holding. This is probably the big winner from last week. This thing went the past 2 weeks. This thing gone from 800 to 940. Monster, absolute monster name here. So again, these names have kind of already done their thing. Google, obviously just going straight up, and a lot of these names we talked about. Google back here. Remember, earnings. It's sick, and this is like part of the. It's tough, and this honestly, I missed out on a lot of this Google run. I made some money on it, but I missed out on the big shot of it, and this is a part of the game. Like transparency, right? I didn't capture this whole move. I got a little too short-sighted. Earnings here, you flip that level 197. We talked a lot about this too. It's the tough part. And we knew Google was undervalued. We knew it. And 250, right? So names look good. What I'm watching. The only area that I didn't talk about today was probably crypto. I think crypto's in a really good spot. It's really more about does Bitcoin get going? And if Bitcoin can get going, I think it looks really good. You want to see you hold like this 115 area, 115.7. You can just see like the relative level there. You hold above that, you look really good back in the highs. And Bitcoin should just follow the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. That's what I would assume. That's what generally happens, right? So that's how I've been tracking this. So names that would obviously benefit. Coin, big name here above 350. I think it's a long, easy. MicroStrategy, I'd be careful to get back above the 200. It's a really dangerous area where you're at right now. I'll tell you right now, very dangerous area. Be careful. Coinbase looks a lot better. I think there's bullish as well, which is for the new Tom Lee one. I think this is going to be one of the bigger names to trade in the crypto space. You found a little bottom here at 50. I like that a lot, actually. Bullish starts getting above, like, you kind of have a little SR here, a little zone now. It's a little zone. You can see right there. You start getting above, like, 71, 72. It looks really explosive back up as well. But we don't have enough information to just know how bullish moves, so I don't want to, I don't want to back it. I don't want to push it too much because I just don't know how it moves. It's just so new. But I think this could really be one of the better names to trade as far as mid caps, cheaper names, as far as crypto are related. You guys love Mar and Riot, which are trash stocks. Absolute terrible names. But do whatever you want. So again, see you guys next time. Have a good one, traders. See you tomorrow. Follow for more content.